It's the foreheads. It's the foreheads. We're in our rooms and we're talking about AI.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foreheads Podcast, the greatest disaster on the internet. I'm Goldenboy, joined by Bren, Sideshow, Reinforce, and we are going to talk about things and stuff that are important to society.
God, don't put too much pressure on us in this episode. I
That's
don't think
what
we're going to talk
do.
about anything important to society. What is important to society?
I don't know. Personally.
Friendships.
Oh, the friends we made
dude.
along the way.
We're not ready for Johnny's wholesome segment of the day. Okay,
We didn't get one last week, actually. I've just realized. Jonathan didn't
Well,
give us a wholesome segment of the week.
January was on fucking fire. There was so much bad shit happening, so no room.
Well, that's why people need good news, you know?
Well, there weren't any. There were no good news. No good news at all last week. It was completely empty.
Wow.
Everything was garbage. The world sucked ass. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
But now it's good again. Oh, it's
Oh,
awesome
good.
again.
Oh,
So
good.
it's sorted. We're sorted. I'm sick
Well,
though.
if you want to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, by all means, go on and do that at your own risk. You can also follow us on Spotify. Check us out wherever podcasts are distributed. And because we use Anchor and that thing goes everywhere. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
So also, we did get some reviews. And as you folks know, we like to read our reviews because we care about our community of people.
Also,
Go.
I read that somebody said, and this is a pretty good suggestion, we should say what day it is, the date that this was recorded, so that people know. So it is currently the 18th of February, 2020.
Why
sound
No,
like
it's
was a
not.
question?
It's July 17th, 1956.
Yes. Jonathan is barely a twinkle in his grandmother's eye.
Wow.
You sounded like a captain doing a ship's log when you were telling us the date there, Bren. And it made me just regret that we're not in an age where you could explore the world on a ship.
Yeah.
Because
What is this? What
Well,
is
you
this saying?
still could. What do you mean?
Born too early to explore the world, born too late to explore the stars.
No, there has to still be like islands that people haven't.
Born just in
put down
time
on
to
a map.
record the foreheads.
Hey, so long as you're up for that, that's all I
Yep.
that's all I care about.
I don't think there are islands that haven't been discovered. I think
no, there
there
has
well,
to be.
are
you know,
brand
even
new
in-
islands that get made with volcanoes. Like
Look
volcanic
Yeah,
action,
well-
are there undiscovered islands?
There's islands that people haven't been to. Like there's some island that's covered in venomous snakes where you would just die if you touched down on it. And there's islands
Well,
where
even
there's
in the Star
undiscovered-
Wars prequels, they deleted a planet. So maybe someone deleted an island from the world map.
That's
from the
we would
map.
know.
We would know, and also you wouldn't be able to visit it if it had been deleted.
Wait! Whoa! What do you mean you can't visit something that's deleted? You just discover it again.
It's not there.
If you delete...
No, but if you erase it from the map,
Oh, you mean it's been erased from every map in the world
you
ever?
can't just delete an island.
Well, you can
You
in Star
just
Wars,
said that.
actually. You delete the worlds. They have big world exploders.
No,
Yeah.
but you delete the data point.
Oh, I see. See, I misunderstood.
Yes.
How the hell did we talk about deleting islands to data points?
Because Star Wars prequels. that's
I
why.
looked on Quora, by the way, and the question was, are there any undiscovered islands left on Earth, or have we mapped all of them? And the answer is that there are temporary islands, sandbanks, and other natural movement of debris and material forming land. These are incredibly short-lived and will be completely unsuitable for habitation. Then there's volcanism, which I'm assuming that has nothing to do with Spock. Has hot spots in the magma continue to wander and hit occasional weak spots in the crust. That's crazy that it can create it. And then landfills also can create islands too. That's nuts.
Landfills?
Yeah, you could get enough material and go into a shallowish spot in international waters to make yourself an island. But this is loaded
Out
with
of
issues.
garbage. You can just pick up garbage and make an island out of it.
That sounds terrible.
Doesn't
the
I
seem
can't
environment.
think
like
the
a
farming would
long-lasting
be all
island.
that fortuitous on Garbage Island.
No.
You know, well,
Isn't that the UK?
Oh,
Ah.
wait, isn't
What?
that got Treasure Island on garbage. In the U.S. in San Francisco, there's an island that I think was like, I don't know, built on a landfill, or I don't know. Maybe I'm totally like.
What are you talking about?
I know. I remember in San Francisco there was. Damn, dude, I'm like, I have a headache and I'm a little nasally. So nasally. But there was like an island in San Francisco that I remember reading about.
Alcatraz.
Not Alcatraz, but like
it's Treasure Island in San Francisco has contaminated land.
There it is.
From
That's
something.
what it was.
I mean, I've just found a random article, and it doesn't really give me that much context. But it's something about a toxic cleanup.
You wouldn't be able to grow anything there.
Potential health risks from years of living on contaminated land. But I haven't really got the background.
It's crazy. That's San Francisco for you.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
They called it Treasure Island. Is that just taking the piss? It's just like, we're going to port all the poor people onto an island made of garbage. We'll call it Treasure Island. I'm sure they won't mind going.
They won't notice the difference.
Start digging in the trash, poor people. Maybe you'll find some treasure.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's brutal, isn't it? That sounds... I mean, actually, I've just remembered there's no poor people in San Francisco. You wouldn't be able to survive.
There are poor people in San Francisco.
Oh, you're so wrong.
There are poor people
it's like
in San Francisco.
one of the largest populations of homeless in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Is it really in San Francisco?
Dude, it's really bad.
That's crazy.
I actually have an interesting story about that. So I lived there for a few years, and so I worked in the financial district. So that's where the Twitch offices were. But my wife worked at the Mission was what it was called. Yeah, it's called the Mission, and she would have to walk from the train station to her office every day. And in the morning, she would have to pass by all of these tents. And it was essentially like Tent City, right? Where it's just tents everywhere. And she even said, like, you would see human feces on the sidewalks, urine, it was just really bad. And it was doubly worse because when Cynthia would bring Stella would just freak out because there was just like so much going on. And they would put their tent, they'd squat on like a part of the sidewalk, and then they would give you like just enough space for your feet to get by. But like they'll take up an entire almost an entire sidewalk. Right. And she would walk through that every day. And it was like, a little dangerous too. Obviously very dangerous, especially at night if she left work late and stuff. It was not the best situation for sure.
Is that because the movement of very large companies into San Francisco has boosted up the housing prices so much that it's created families that just can't afford to live there anymore? Because when I think of San Francisco, I think of enormous house prices.
There's also just mentally ill people there. I mean, people who just do like fucking heroin and shit.
But why would there be more mentally ill people in San Francisco compared to elsewhere?
I think it was... there's homeless laws in California that have kind of like allowed it at a certain point in time. I'm not gonna act like I'm an expert in it, but also there was another thing too, and I mean I don't know how true this is, but I even heard stories go as far as like there are like certain cities that would like bus homeless people to San Francisco and just like because
that was true with
LA as well.
Yeah,
that was a South Park episode.
But that is an actual.
No, but it's actually true. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me pull this. Let me fact check.
Dude, it's true. I heard it on Joe Rogan.
Fact check it, Jamie.
Fact check it with the internet. Johnny heard it from Joe Rogan. We also saw it on South Park.
It kind of does make sense though for a lot of homeless people to live in California because the weather is suitable for living in tents all year round. I mean, they must die a lot of the time in the Northeast when it becomes incredibly cold in winter.
No, I feel like we've brought this up story like twice on this podcast. It's like people like the states of like New York and shit. They just bought bus tickets for homeless people to LA and just shipped them off.
Oh, now San Francisco started doing it.
Started doing what? Bussing people out?
Yeah, bussing people out.
So they just send homeless people around. They're just like, hey, we know you're homeless and we know
They give them one-way tickets.
So we're going to give you a one-way ticket, yeah. And your life is going to get better, and you'll be better off there. And they just ship them off because they don't want them.
That's the most short-term policy I've ever heard of for dealing with homelessness.
No, but America.
Just a solution for that specific state. I mean, it's pretty.
Can you imagine if like France did that and they just gave one-way tickets to all of their homeless people to Germany? And like it's ridiculous once you think about it in terms of one country doing it to another. That's
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's like it's really bad. I mean, we laugh about it because like the
it's absurd.
The idea of it is absurd,
it's
you know. But
I mean, I don't want to get into it, but I mean, there were a lot of. Within the EU, there were a lot of like immigration going on, especially like during the Iraqi war and shit like that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So
Syrian refugee crisis.
It's not. It's not homeless per se, but it's like a similar. Thing. You know.
But I mean that as far as I'm aware of was not so much people. It wasn't. I feel like it's different because you're not directly shipping out people who've already tried to establish themselves in your area. You know what I mean?
I don't want to get into it because I don't know the immigration policies and shit, but there was a lot of like chaos, especially in Germany for a while. I think there was a lot of trains were just packed.
Yeah. But also Germany opened their doors. Germany were especially generous in the refugee crisis. I think they allowed in more than any other country in Europe.
But then I think in the EU, like those countries in the EU, they had softer immigration laws for those specific countries. So it just made for like a really weird situation where borders were pretty much open all around and stuff. I don't want to get into it. I don't know anything about it. I don't want to really comment.
It's a deep, layered issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, San Francisco does have a really, really bad homeless problem. And it's because it's so freaking expensive, bro. It's insane. Like, we were looking for apartments when I moved there, and a 1-bedroom apartment was like $4,000.
Yep.
You know, and that's dumb. It's so ridiculous. And everyone's like, "Oh, New York's expensive." It's like, no, it's not. Nowhere near as expensive as freaking San Francisco. Like, yeah, sure, certain parts of New York are expensive, and they always have been. That's why, like, you'll never see my ass living in Manhattan. That ain't happening.
That's something Matt would do, you know.
Oh, dude, 100% is something Matt would do.
Bougie ass motherfucker.
Benson lived in freaking Manhattan, even though I told him not to. He paid, insane amounts of money in rent. And then he was like, "Oh, New York's too expensive." I was like, "Well, whose freaking fault is that, you dummy?" You know? Anyway, whatever.
Did you ever walk through the Tenderloin in San Francisco?
I did. Yeah, I did walk through the Tenderloin.
That shit just fascinates me.
Oh, so funny story. So we were looking for an apartment.
What is the Tenderloin for us?
I'll explain
those of us who don't know.
I will explain it. So we were looking for apartments, and we were using one of the many apartment seeking apps that exist out there. And this particular app was showing us a whole listing of apartments when we set our price range. And we set our price range around like $1,500 to like $2,500, right? Trying to kind of give us like some wiggle room, you know? So we're looking for different apartments, and then we see an apartment dead set in the middle of San Francisco. And we're like, yes, this is amazing. It's huge. It's a 2-bedroom apartment, and it was like $1,900, but it was in the Tenderloin. It was in the Tenderloin. And what the Tenderloin is essentially like where all of the halfway houses are. And in case you don't know what a halfway house is, that's like where a lot of people who, like whether it be drugs, domestic abuse, all sorts of things. It's basically like shelters, you know. Mm-hmm. They kind of seek shelter there. All those exist. There are a lot of methadone clinics that were over there too. Like all sorts of, like everything's in the Tenderloin. It is not a safe place to go. Like people will actively drive around the Tenderloin because it's just not safe. So we were like, oh, let's look at this. And I'm like sending it to my friends, and then like my friends just immediately just start blowing up my phone. They're like, do not go there. Like everyone's like freaking out. They're like, don't go there. It's not safe. Trust me. And I was like, man, I'm from the Bronx. This is okay. And then I get to the Tenderloin, and I was like, oh no, this is not safe. This is not safe at all. So opted to not move there.
I've got
but it's just not safe because of the surrounding area, like
homeless problem, drug problems.
It's like Skid Row of San Francisco.
Right. Yeah. Gotcha.
But it's called the Tenderloin, and it sounds so nice and welcoming. It's
Yeah.
like, join us at the Tenderloin.
I've got
the Tenderloin does sound like
raise a family.
Subsection of some bougie spa that you go to, and then they massage you and all the rest.
I've got the Wikipedia article up at the moment because I was interested. I've heard like rumors about how the Tenderloin got its name, so I wanted to just look into it a little bit. I didn't realize that it took its name from an older neighborhood in New York. Apparently, there was a Tenderloin in Manhattan before there was a Tenderloin in San Francisco.
Doesn't shock me.
Yeah, back in the in the late 19th and early 20th
That sounds like
centuries.
some shit we would do. You know.
And it's
hey, yo, where you coming from? I'm over at the Tenderloin. You know what? How about you go fuck yourself? You go fuck yourself too. Go fuck yourself at the Tenderloin.
And apparently, one of the like classic explanations of why it's called the Tenderloin. I mean, people say it's the soft underbelly, analogous to the cut of meat. But the rumor that I had heard is similar to this one, which was the police captain of New York. I heard San Francisco. I didn't realize it was New York. Said that when he had moved to that part of the city, he got so many bribes on the side that he could afford to eat tenderloin every night.
Wow, that's
because it was just where the mob and all the bad parts of the city were that the police just decided to leave. Because I guess it's like it could be a positive thing to have all of the bad shit happen in one area, because at least then it doesn't spread, and you just know that, okay, if nobody goes there, it's a bad area. Just don't go in there. The rest of the city's lovely. Just try and condense all of the bad shit.
Like if you're there, you're clearly there for a reason.
Yeah,
you know?
Just start arresting anyone who steps inside the Tenderloin.
Like Bren is just walking around with his blonde hair, just looking for trouble. You know, this guy, here comes trouble. Benjamin Hook, looking to just.
If I was looking for trouble, though, I don't know if I'd go to the Tenderloin.
Or maybe Johnny wants to fight some people outside of a bar. There he is.
Oh no,
massive Swedish man.
This has to stop.
Well, speaking of crime, I didn't tell the story from when I was in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
But
God.
I didn't get into this section. But this is like the wildest interaction I had in Japan was we went to... Did I mention last time the DJ bar?
I don't think so.
It was
in Japan, yeah.
Oh, wait,
your favorite, yeah.
The
said
sick
the
bar
little kid
where they
was
like...
DJing.
Yeah. That same bar, we went there one night, and I was chatting away with some dude, and he was... But everyone in Japan are generally quite friendly. And I was talking to some guy, and we were like a couple of shots in. I was buying shots for other people, just getting lit AF, just ruined in that bar. And I was talking to the guy, and the guy was like, so where are you from? And I was like, England, all the rest. And he was like, cool. Yeah, my girlfriend, she's Dutch. And I was like, your English is really good. And then they do that thing that everyone that like speaks English really well, but they don't want to admit it, that they're really good at speaking English. And they're like, no, it's not. No. Like, it starts getting embarrassed, it starts blushing. I'm chatting away with him, and I tell him what I'm doing, what I do, and he's like, that's really cool. He's like, you're like commentate video games. I was like, yeah. And he's like, nice. He's like, yeah, I like Rainbow Six, and he's like, we're talking about Rainbow Six because Rainbow Six is really big in Japan.
It is.
A lot of people don't know that. And we're chatting away, and he's with like. So let me put this into context. The bar itself. The bar in Japan in general, then they are not particularly big. Like, there's not a lot of space to go around in Japan. But you walk upstairs into this bar, and I'm trying to... I mean, normally I just show people. When I'm telling the story in person, I just show them by walking out the space of the bar. But how do I even explain it?
Normally, people explain space by meterage or some kind of length, volume description...
I would say 10 feet by 15 feet.
Very small.
How many Johnnies?
If Johnny was lying out, probably 4 Johnnies.
4 Johnnies.
Well, then
maybe 5. I don't know.
You think he's 2.5 feet long?
No, I think 4 Johnnies is an accurate amount of space.
4 Johnnies is like 25, 30 feet.
Johnny, how tall are you?
6, 7.
God damn.
I think I don't know. Anyway, it's like if I was to estimate around 10 by 15 feet, don't know what that is in meters. No, maybe
no. Wait,
no
really?
There's no way the room was 10 by 15 feet unless you were crammed in like sardines. The average.
You have never been to Japan.
You're saying really that either the width or whatever is less than 2 me.
I've been in bars that were smaller than my storage unit that we went to, Josh.
Really?
In Japan, yeah. It's quite literally a bar, and everyone just stands, and it is one narrow little corridor that everybody stands in between, and you have to awkwardly shuffle past people to go to the bathroom. Because it's sick.
Yeah.
Like bars,
I'm buying it.
Kind of
stonks.
Yeah,
you know why it's like that, right?
Anyway,
because they don't have any space.
Josh just came in.
Josh just came in the shot and backed up.
It just came in reverse.
Just tell Josh to go. Just tell Josh. Tell Josh to go. No, because what do they call that when it's when they banned alcohol and stuff?
Prohibition.
Prohibition. Yeah, when Prohibition hit Tokyo and hit Japan in general, they built really small little spots. That's why that Yakitori alley in the red light district is there, because all these little like restaurants and all these little yakitori joints were like they're tiny. It's enough to fit like 4 people and then a person cooking the meat, and then you just drink. So that's I would imagine that's also why a lot of bars in Japan are very small, is because they had to be small so that they could be hidden, and then a lot of them just kept going because they were still making a ton of money. So it's like, why change? Anyway, go on.
Tokyo also has a population of a lot for the space. It's like 9 mil in terms of the amount of space that Tokyo takes up. It's very dense, so like they don't have a lot of space to work with a lot of the time. But anyway, it was a small bar, to put it in perspective. And I'm talking to this dude, and he's telling me about his life, and he's gonna go live in the Netherlands for like a year. I'm like, oh, that's really sick. We're getting pretty friendly, and he's with a bunch of friends, and they're sat at a table, like probably I'd say 3 feet away from me, 6 feet away from the bar itself. And they're sat down. There's only 2 tables in this bar, and it's very low down. So there's 2 staff members that are in here, and they can see what's going on. I'm talking to the guy, and he's like, oh, yeah. So, you want some cocaine?
He said that to you.
Yeah. And
what did you say?
Well, I said no.
Okay.
No, thank you.
And Bren will tell you the real version of the story afterwards.
But I said no, of course. But then I look over at the table that's low down, and I just see all 4 of his friends rolling up yen notes, doing lines off the table. In this bar in Japan. And then I looked at the guy's arm and saw tattoos all down, like just on his wrist. He's wearing kind of like a long sleeve thing, but he's got it rolled up. I started seeing tattoos, and I'm like, oh, this is like a Yakuza bar. like the Yakuza are friendly in this bar. And then it registered in my mind why the staff were not like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? They just ignored it. And it also answers the question as to how he even got cocaine in Japan.
And you had been chatting to this guy about your job and where you were and all sorts of stuff.
But he was incredibly friendly. So we followed each other on Instagram. So
no, and now he's going to see this clip and just be like, that guy.
Yeah,
take him out.
So we followed each other on Instagram. I mean, he doesn't know, but
what the hell, dude?
Yeah, dude. It was a good time. I'm telling you.
Yo, I'm not trying to be Yakuza. If you're watching, I'm not trying. I'm good. I'm a good man.
Let me try and find his Instagram real quick.
Please don't.
Don't. Yeah.
I'm not gonna shout
do that.
Anyway, whatever.
Hi, mate. How are you? How you been?
Yeah, it was a good time though. You know, he was.
Wait, do you know for a fact that he's Yakuza or like...
No? I mean, he may have just had Yakuza connections, but I mean, the tats kind of give it away, right?
Do they?
Oh, because tats off. Was it like a diva tattoo?
Tattoos are incredibly taboo in Japan. Like you can't show them off in bars. You can't show them off in public baths. So if you have tattoos, It's pretty much, and if you're Japanese and you got tattoos, it's almost exclusively, I think, for Yakuza.
No.
Okay. That seems unlikely to me with a new wave of a new generation that's been much more globalized, but I don't really know whether that's...
Japan it's such a weird country because it feels very analog in some ways and very forward in others.
Analog?
Yes, like quite old in their ways in a lot of sense. I'm saying like I'm using it as compared like analog digital, right? because they
like
they
phone books and shit.
Record stores and CD stores are massive still in Japan.
Right.
They all use flip phones. Nobody owns PCs. Like they are still kind of stuck in the past in a lot of ways. People just don't really like.
Well, no. It's because of how they consume and how they do things. Because as you mentioned before about the space thing, they go out a lot more. Like they're always out. You know. Yeah. I wish I could kick Stella out right now because she's barking up a storm. But yeah, like that's how it is. So I found this article on CNN. It says in Japan, tattoos have long been stigmatized for their association with organized crime gangs, the Yakuza, who pledge their allegiance with full body markings. Consequently, anyone with ink, regardless of their profession, cannot usually use public swimming pools, hot springs, beaches, and even some gyms. So there you go.
Yeah, and I was reading as well before I went there about anecdotes from tourists, like foreigners going over to Japan. They'd have tattoos, and they would be asked to leave bars very aggressively. It's like they have a hoodie on, and no one can see the tattoos. They take it off because it's getting hot.
Yeah,
and they get asked to leave immediately because what they don't want to be associated with is because tattoos are associated with the Yakuza. If they know that person is Yakuza, they won't say anything. But what they don't want is the Yakuza saying, so why are you letting people pretend they're Yakuza in your bar and coming around and just fucking the place up? Like, that's what they don't want, is like the Yakuza going around and saying, so we heard that you're letting people with tattoos drink at your bar who aren't Yakuza. What the fuck's going on?
Oh, crap, dude. Yeah, dude, that's... Wow.
What a strange scenario to find yourself.
I have a tattoo and I was in Japan. Maybe that's why everyone was so afraid of me, They were all like, yo, this guy means business. It also could have been that I was like literally the only Puerto Rican in the entirety of Japan. But, who knows?
I was very surprised at how multicultural Tokyo was, at least.
Yeah. But I guarantee you I was the only Puerto Rican when I was there.
Sure. I mean,
we don't really get out that much. We're not really that. Well, no. I actually do have a great story about being a Puerto Rican in France.
What is the population of Puerto Rico?
I love this.
What was the what? Was that?
What's the population of Puerto Rico?
A little. I'll look it up.
A little.
3 million.
3 million.
3 million in Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Population is going down.
Yeah, well, because everyone moves over here. That's what happens. All right. So what happened was, this was many years ago when I got my first real job in esports. I was working for the IGN Pro League as a commentator for the prestigious first-person shooter known as Shoot Mania.
Nice.
Love it. Okay. It was one of the greatest esports ever created by man.
I'm cringing to the bone.
True.
Right now.
Rather than Overwatch, which was created by God.
Exactly. So I was myself, my co-commentator Ash Joshi. We were invited to the Ubisoft headquarters, or the Mania Planet. I forget, the Mania Planet, or wherever the company's name was. Their headquarters out in Paris, and it was great. Like, we went out, we went to go fill some content. Like, it was overall a super fun time. But before like all that even started, I landed. This was my first international trip, by the way. I never gone international in my life. And when we got there, and sorry, my radiator's like gonna explode any moment now. I had never traveled out of the United States, so I didn't really know what to expect. But for the most part, I know that like, I am Puerto Rican, but I don't look all that different, right? So, but I did have a beard similar to like the length that I'm at right now, maybe a little bit longer, because I was younger and more hair, I was more ambitious.
Sorry, have I missed this? Where did you go?
Paris, France. So we get off, me and Joshy. We get off, hop in a cab, and our cab driver is like, talking to us, and he's like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" And Josh, said where he was from. We're like, "Oh, we both live in California," and he was like, "Oh, that's awesome." And then he looks at me, he's like, "What about you? Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm from New York. I'm Puerto Rican, and I also live in California right now." He's like, "Oh, I thought you were Taliban."
Taliban?
Yeah.
What?
And I'm in the back of the car, and I'm just like, no, that's not me. And then he's like, "Oh, I never heard of Puerto Rico." I was like, "Well, we're not Taliban."
Must be
and
Taliban.
Even then, that's not even like it's like an organization. That's not a.
That's amazing. What? Who was this person? A random taxi
driver
in Paris.
Just a random taxi, like French taxi driver. Just assumed that because I had a beard. And he said, he was like, "Oh, your beard's so big. I just thought you were Taliban." And I'm like,
Jesus Christ!
What year was this?
Oh, dude, this was like 2014,
15?
2014, 2015.
That's really late. That is really late. I thought you were going to say something like, well, obviously no, because it was Shootmania. But when you said the Taliban kind of stuff, I thought maybe right at the beginning of it when people were in a furore after 9/11, like possibly that's something where it's not as ridiculous, but
yeah.
Was it a joke?
I don't think. Well, no, he genuinely thought I was.
Because you do have a glorious beard.
Yeah, thank you.
French people don't make jokes.
Yeah, we've all hung out with AKM. Okay, guys, we all know. Yeah, no, he thought I was. He thought I was Taliban.
That is crazy to me because even when I've hung out with a lot of people in the UK who are just like. A bit racist like that, but also some people that just do it as a joke. Like we
have to talk about the company you keep, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I mean, you live in the north of England. People are just like that you go to school with, and all types of stuff. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, you would never even those people wouldn't say it to somebody's face. Like, "Oh, I thought you were Taliban."
No,
they would.
That just screams to me that he might have just been an idiot. I
mean, that's so strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
2014. Imagine saying that. Was Taliban even relevant in 2014?
I don't think
so.
I know. All I know is that there was that was kind of like par for the course, and like some things that I have experienced in my life in this wide world of video games. Because I mean, dude, there was like a point in time where like I was the only like Hispanic dude that was like on camera, and at least in like Call of Duty and Halo and stuff, and maybe not so much like Gears of War and FGC, but definitely in those games, there was none of that existed. So I mean, I would get the gauntlet of things said to me. People would call me fat Mexican. They would say I'm black. They would say, listen, I love Mexican culture. I love African American culture. I'm all good. Keep on, but the Taliban, that's one where I was like, interesting. I wonder how I rebound from this. So I stopped talking to the guy the rest of the ride. And then that was that. And then I had a great time in France, and I did not let that ruin it, but it made for a hilarious story.
I feel like I really have to go back to France at some point, because everyone who's been there, just like, oh, it's a beautiful country, there's great food, there's so much great things to see. I've only been in France for 22 hours.
Oh, dude.
22 hours.
So experience it in that much
there was, Sideshow might remember this, there was an Overwatch tournament with an online qualifier in like 2016. I want to say like July or something.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been earlier. It might have been like maybe May or something. So like really early in competitive Overwatch's history. And there's this online qualifier on the ESL tournaments page. And usually there's like weekly cups, maybe like a monthly cup. But this time, Asus held like an online qualifier for an Asus tournament.
Oh, the Asus ROG. Yeah.
Yeah. And so only two teams are sent to Paris to compete in a grand final. And naturally we won because my team was amazing. It was with Rogue. And then we're playing Creation Esports in Paris. And so...
Was that with Nox and Numlocked and stuff?
Yeah, we played against Numlocked, Nox,
was Linkser
Artier, Drakeus, Linkser. Yeah, Linkser is going to remember the story if he listens to it.
In Europe at the time.
Who did we have? I can't remember what stage we're in. But anyway, so I'm like over the moon because there wasn't a ton of LAN events, and that was just when I was getting started as a pro. And I'm like, holy shit, I qualified for an offline tournament. That's amazing. You know, you get sent the travel info. Like, holy shit, I'm going to Paris to compete. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And they schedule my flight from Sweden, Stockholm to Paris on the same day we're playing this one match. So I get up at like 6-7 a.m. to take a flight to Paris and play a tournament match. It's like 3-4 p.m.
That's brutal.
And so I take my flight, take a cab. It's like what? Probably like 50 euros or some shit, because it's just that's how much cabs were back then. And I arrive, and it's probably the worst area of Paris there probably is.
Oh my god!
There's just garbage everywhere. It reeks. Like, I can't put it. It felt like you were in a bad part of New York. It was just bad.
Whoa!
The hotel is like borderline 3 stars. Very small room. Everything's just chaos. So I arrive at my hotel, super tired because I woke up so early. And immediately as I arrive, I have to hurry to the venue because I'm late to this grand finals match. And so we get there like 3 or 4 p.m. or something, and we're about to play this match. And we turn up, and it's like an Asus ROG celebration anniversary event or something. And so it's like a party, like with a DJ and everything. And there's like, before the match starts, there's like a speech, you know, they're like, thank you for supporting Asus ROG for so long. Thank you for coming out and celebrating our anniversary or something. People are just hanging around the floor and having a good time. And as they're wrapping up, it's like, okay, now it's time for the match, the grand finals. And we just sit down with our PCs, you know, barely any rehearsal. I don't even know if this game was streamed. We just played a grand final without a stream or something.
I don't know. I don't think it was.
It was like on a French website.
I seem to recall it not being streamed. Because I remember trying to find it. I remember, was the online qualifiers streamed?
Yeah, the online qualifiers was streamed.
Yeah, because I remember watching the online, but I remember like trying to find the dates for the grand finals, and it just didn't exist.
Yeah, so everything was streamed except the grand final. And, you know, there's not a ton of prize money because there were no prize money in Overwatch back then. Maybe it was like a few $100, maybe like a couple of thousands.
Yeah.
And so we're about to start this match, and we haven't tried out the equipment or anything before this grand finals. And it's all like Asus ROG gear, like the headsets, the keyboards. Shit's borderline not working. The headsets have no noise cancellation. And keep in mind, it's like a party with like lots of people there. And my mic stops working on the map 2, which is like Hollywood, and we try to get a pause, but it doesn't happen, and we just keep playing out. I don't have a microphone, and we can literally hear Creation Esports shot calling next to us because it's like you can't hear the headsets, so naturally everyone just screams even more.
Yeah,
and then there's no noise cancellation, so you can hear what the other team is screaming.
And the music was playing the whole time.
I can't remember if the music was playing, but it was so loud because there were so many people there. And I mean, it was a sort of scuffed, horrible setup. We end up losing like 3-1 or something. And, you know, I played with a bunch of experienced players back then, like Wins, AKM, whatever, Uncle. They had competed in Shootmania and Quake and stuff back then. So they had experienced a couple of LANs, and they were just like, this is by far the worst setup we ever played in, ever. And we just complain. And Creation Esports, they just won this match like 3-1. And they're like, we had the same issues, we won. Makes us the better team. And we're like, you're pieces of shit. Like, that was not fair at all. My mic wasn't working. And they were just taunting us. They were like, we're the best team in Europe. And we're like, it's like, then we won Takeover and whatever. But that was so freaking bad. And then I just go back to my hotel, and I got up early again, like 6 a.m. for my flight. And that was my experience in Paris. and we went to like some pizzeria for dinner or something, and we're just sad about losing.
In Paris.
I don't know. Yeah, it was just horrible. It was just the worst Paris-France experience ever, and everyone keeps talking great about France, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, well,
I did not enjoy it.
I don't think you had the classic French experience.
No, that's it. I have to go back. Oh my god!
I really like Paris, but I think most people would say that the south of France is a bit nicer, a bit more chilled out, a bit more classically French. Like Paris is very, very busy. It's a big city feel, and there's a lot of I don't know, a bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a city, right? So it's going to have its bad parts as well. The Louvre, though, I went to the Louvre and was amazed at how big it is. Like, I think we scheduled out a couple of hours to go and see it. There's like a weird quick fact about the Louvre, which is like this massive attraction that pieces of artwork all over the place.
You mean the Louvre?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You pronounced it differently 3 times.
The Louvre?
The Louvre.
Go back and listen to this podcast.
Le Louvre.
Le Louvre.
It's just the Louvre. That's all it is.
It's just the love.
Yeah, mate, I'm going down to the Louvre. Listen, all right, I'm going to tell you some facts about the Louvre, okay? If you...
Jesus Christ, stop it.
Le Louvre.
Okay, go. Tell me these facts about the Louvre.
It's if you spent, what was it? If you spend 30 seconds in front of every piece of artwork in the Louvre, it will take you 100 days to be able to see every single piece.
Wow.
If you spent
just 30 seconds just appreciating each piece of art, it would take you 100 days to experience every piece of art in the Louvre.
That's crazy.
There's 35,000 pieces of art in the museum.
Jesus.
So when I did that trip in France, me and Joshi literally just went and beelined it straight to the Mona Lisa, took a picture and left.
Yeah, that's...
I heard the wait line is massive.
No, it was fine. It was just like this. It's a small painting, and it's behind like...
It's behind some glass as well.
Yeah, it's behind a there's a guy, then there's a fence, and then there's glass. And so it's like, you can't get it. And then even then, that's the replica. That's not even the original.
Wait,
something like
what?
That. Yeah, it's like one of the copies that he made. It's not. I could be wrong, but I remember explicitly when I went there, they said that the original is in a vault somewhere, so that light.
Yeah, because the real one is actually in Hitler's art cabinet in Argentina.
I don't think so. I think the one that's in that glass is the actual one. No, I mean about I don't mean about Hitler in Argentina.
Did you check with Hitler to ask him if it did? Holy shit! Dude.
No, I think the one that's in that big glass display is the real one, because the reason it's in that big glass display is that it's bulletproof and climate controlled, and it's like the best place to be able to show it. Did you know that the Mona Lisa was never that popular until it got stolen? And then it got blown up I think it was the beginning of the 20th century. It got stolen. I'm trying to find the thing now.
Okay, so never mind. The original one is in the Louvre in Paris. So I was wrong. I had heard somewhere that there was a second painting, a copy.
I think that's called the Da Vinci Code, and it was it was by Dan Brown, and it was a whole big conspiracy book.
And Tom Hanks went to go find it. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah. But look at this.
Wasn't that when they stole the Declaration of Independence?
The Declaration.
The Declaration of Independence. I misspoke during my joke, damn it.
That's my movie namesake, National Treasure, starring the greatest actor of all time, Nicolas Cage.
So, apparently at the beginning of when it was first made and when it was handed around and passed from house to house and all of this kind of stuff, the Mona Lisa wasn't even that popular. And then in 1911, it was stolen from the Louvre, and it blew up in all of the papers about this incredible painting that had been stolen and stuff. And I think apparently this is one of the biggest reasons that it is so wildly popular now.
What if he planned it like that, and like he was just like, "Yo, dog, steal my painting, and then we're gonna tell everyone that it's dope." And then people are like, yo, let's make some money. And then they did it. And then now we're telling the story in this freaking Papega podcast.
But what? Hold on. How would they make money from it?
Well, I don't really know. Well, no. Here's the thing: the culprit was an employee at the museum who had helped construct the glass case, and it says here that he entered the building during regular hours, hid in a broom closet, and then just walked out with the painting hidden under his coat after the museum had closed. Just hid in the broom closet until the museum had closed and then just walked out with the painting. And apparently he was an Italian patriot who believed that Leonardo da Vinci's painting should have been in an Italian museum. So that's why he stole it.
Oh, okay. I guess it's justifiable.
He kept the Mona Lisa in his apartment for 2 years and then was caught when he attempted to sell it.
Wait, why would he sell it? If it was in Italy...
He tried to sell it. He tried to sell it to the director of a museum in Florence.
Okay, well that context.
No, but
some random dude in France, just like, hey, you want to buy this shit? A 3-bit coin.
But if you care, shouldn't you sell it or not sell it? Shouldn't you give it if you care so much, right?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But even if he did try and give it, obviously you're going to get caught if you give it to. If you try and give it to another museum,
just swine, bro. What a hustler over here. What a dick. You know, trying to make a quick buck selling someone else's painting, you know, trying to act like you're being all loyal and caring about Italian culture and history. Nah, fam, you liar. You liar.
He actually was just a thief.
He was a thief. That's it.
Just a little thief.
Terrible stuff. Well, what isn't terrible are the reviews that we get on our podcast.
I love you, Goldenboy. I love you.
We actually did get a new review, by the way. We got a new one. This one came in February 13th, 2020. And it says, my heart skipped a beat. How dare the three heads and Johnny betray the fan base like this? Whoa, the three heads and Johnny. They gave up our hope. We had reason to finally believe that Sideshow, Goldenboy, and Johnny were dead. Bren wasn't dead because we all saw his depressing tweets all month.
It's true.
But when OWL started and I saw Sideshow and Johnny's smug faces, my heart skipped a beat. Seeing and knowing that soon, very, very soon, Foreheads was bound to return, and I would have to sit and listen to AI in the future again, put me in cold sweats. So I'm confused here. Raging Cool, are you happy?
No.
Or do you want us dead?
It sounds like somebody out there has strapped Raging Cool down and is forcing them to listen to the Foreheads podcast as some kind of sleep deprivation torture.
Yeah.
But they still rated it 5 stars, so, you know, Stockholm Syndrome wins again.
Take it, baby. We'll take it. There's another one. Let me see here. January 15th, person said, I have so many things to say about this simultaneously intelligent and Papega podcast. Did I word that right? Am I a boomer like Goldenboy? An analyzer like Sideshow? The great Swedish man Johnny reinforced the whys? Whoa. Am I Poega like Bren? Or artificially intelligent like the robot in Project Ultima? Rhetorical questions. I'm all of them at once. Anyway, back to the main part. Write 5-star reviews for the greatest disaster on the internet so Brent can stop crying over his coma nightmare of having to work a regular job. I'm not getting sponsored to write this. Oh, how I wish I was. At least it's better than watching the greatest disaster in real life, Donald Trump. Dang!
Just fitting in the little political jabs at the end.
Little political jab.
Have you had any other really bad nightmares recently, Bren?
Because I had a bad one today.
I had one a couple of days ago that John Spector, who recently got promoted to, what is he, like vice president of the Overwatch League or something?
Yeah,
I had a dream that he fired me and took my job as a color caster alongside Bren. And I was distraught in this dream. I couldn't understand why John Spector would want to be an on-camera talent. I didn't get it. Why? You had such a good job, John. Why would you want my job? Was I not good enough? Should I have stayed on the desk? Oh, it's not like he gave me his job instead. I just got kicked out. It was very depressing until I woke up and thought, what the hell am I dreaming about?
Well, I mean, that reminds me of I mean, I've told this dream before, but it reminds me of that dream I had where I woke up from the coma and the year was like 2024.
Yeah.
The Overwatch League was a failure. Oh my God, it's coming true. In the dream, Malik was like, yeah, you know, things weren't the same. Malik's not even in the league anymore,
and
bro.
Semler as well.
And Puckett. Bro,
Dude.
oh my god, I prophesized this.
Oh, didn't the entirety of esports fail?
Yeah.
No, we're not there yet. We're not there yet.
The bubble burst.
VC money, dude.
The bubble burst.
Dude, look at the visor. The visor that Josh has got
Sell
going
the
on
esports stonks. Bren's had a prophecy.
I've had a prophecy.
Okay, I'm going to keep it real with y'all because I was watching the death segments in Philly in between doing the MC stuff. And there's just some things where it's like, bro, there are moments where we do things and I'm like, bro, am I a boomer? I like, maybe I am a boomer. I kept on seeing this stonks segment. And for the longest time, I was like, do they mean stocks? And I'm there standing around. I'm like, what the hell does stonks mean? This doesn't make any sense to me.
You are a boomer.
But I'm not. I'm not a. Maybe I'm just out of the loop for a minute. But my God, like it's like you're gone for 2 weeks shooting a show with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, entertaining millions around the world, and the world changes around you.
You don't know the stonks meme.
Do you have to cut that out?
You don't know the stonks meme.
What?
That is so strange.
Because
you don't know the stonks meme.
What? Talking about tying games?
Yeah.
No, I can talk about tying games.
Oh, I thought that was.
I can't tell you who won. But I could tell you.
Oh, I didn't. I thought it was a public that you were in Atlanta doing that.
Oh, the stonks meme is the is that weird like graphic face dude.
Yeah,
right?
and he just says stonks, and then it goes up. That's how I imagine in my head how he says it. He just says stonks. It's just deadpan. No,
is there a YouTube video of this?
There's a whole YouTube video. I just pulled it up.
Well, I went
stream.
to a very reputable website, knowyourmeme.com. And
very
their
reputable.
stonks is an intentional misspelling of the word stocks, which is often associated with a surreal meme featuring the character Meme Man standing in front of a picture representing the stock market, followed by the caption "stonks." The picture began seeing use as a reaction image online and jokes about making poor financial decisions.
I just came up with the word donks. I just made it up. I made up a word.
Yeah, the stonks and the donks.
Yeah, I went to Urban Dictionary. Donk, a very round, attractive, ghetto-style booty.
Is that what you did?
Yeah, so the donk, donk.
Did you do donks as in the downward stocks?
Yeah.
Wait, on the desk you did donks as downward?
Yeah, stonks is up and donks is down.
Ass on broadcast,
basically.
Yeah.
Dude, Urban Dictionary is not reliable.
I tell you what, I really love the donks. I think all of the
donks, dude.
The donks of the Houston Outlaws could not be lower.
That was essentially Costa, yeah.
That's pretty good though, because it's like it's donks, so it's like downward stonks, but it's also their ass. They are actually ass.
Oh my God, dude! I actually walked into the Houston Outlaws dugout just to say hi to like Flame and them. And it was like a quarantine zone in there.
Really?
Like, dude, they were all super sick. All of them had, like, most of them had masks on.
Jesus.
Like, you're all just, yeah. The weather in the East Coast for the last few days has just been
plague.
Really, like, yeah, dude. Let me tell you, when we were filming,
what's the weather got to do with it?
No, because it changed dramatically. It was like hot and cold and hot and cold, like. It's like up and down. It's been wild, bro. When we were filming games in Atlanta,
the medical definition of disease with the 4 humors and changing temperatures causing your bile to rise or something. That doesn't make you sick
because the temperature changes so drastically. Your body's not adjusting.
What?
Yeah, that happens all the time.
No, that's not a thing.
Yes, it does. That literally happened to me when I did Titan games. Literally, in Atlanta, one day it was hot. Next day, it was freezing. Next day, it was raining. Then it snowed. Then there was a torrential storm. Then it got hot again.
And you got the flu?
Yeah, I caught the flu, dude.
You can't catch the flu from cold. You can't catch the flu from temperature change. If you were in a sterile environment and they just went, yeah, it's snowing, it's hot, it's snowing, it's hot, you wouldn't suddenly catch the flu.
But doesn't it weaken your immune system?
It might do a little bit. I don't know. But the point of the thing that causes you to catch the flu is hanging out with other people that have the flu.
If you're outside, though, and you catch a cold because it's cold...
You don't catch the cold from it being cold.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
No, you literally don't. No.
So when you're outside and you get sick because it's cold.
Unless you're talking specifically about hypothermia. If you're talking about the common cold, a virus, you catch it by being in contact with other people who have that virus.
And how do they get the cold?
By catching it from other people.
But where did it originate from?
All right, now you're getting into real complex things, but it doesn't spring out of an icicle. It's not like snowmen are going around giving people the common cold.
That your immune system is weaker because you're constantly dealing with changing temperatures.
Marginally. You don't catch colds from cold.
Don't use big words. Don't use big words.
I don't think that temperature changes makes any significant difference.
I think it lowers your immune system when you fluctuate massively between different temperatures.
Yeah, I could imagine that being true.
I got sick when I came back from. I just landed from Korea. I felt perfectly fine, like actually fine. I was just jet lagged. Like I was a little bit tired.
You thought you didn't have the coronavirus?
Well, no, because I had recovered from the coronavirus in Japan, and then I still had a little minor cough. Maybe I've still got it, and I still got a cough even now. This cough just won't go away. I think I might need to go to a doctor. But I went here, slept on an air mattress with a single blanket in a house with no heating.
Smart.
And I woke up the next day fucking deathly ill. So
that's what I'm saying. It's cold. You're not covered. That's how you get sick.
Yeah,
like, am I missing
your body's
something
immune
here?
systems weakens. But I don't think the cold causes disease. It just makes you more susceptible to disease. I didn't
say it caused disease. I'm just
saying. Yes, you did. You said the cold is the reason you get a cold.
Yeah, you did literally say that.
I did. Okay, look, I can neither confirm nor deny that I said that.
Oh, so apparently, I'm just looking it up at the moment because I know that there's something to do with your immune system being slightly better. It's nothing to do with the temperature, apparently, but it's the lack of humidity that accompanies drops in temperature. And a drop in humidity, drier air, tends to dry out your mucous membranes, making you more susceptible to bacteria and viruses because they can get into your body more easily. But it's not to do with the cold, and you still need to be in contact with the virus itself. Like if you were out in the middle of the Arctic and you hadn't been in touch with another human, you wouldn't suddenly catch like a random snowflake deposits some bacteria on your mouth and you catch the flu.
I love how you're just minimizing what I'm saying. Okay, and
you said the cold causes you to catch cold. Like Jack Frost is out here fucking diseasing people.
Am I technically wrong though when I say that the cold has an impact on you getting a cold?
You didn't use the word impact. You are technically correct when you say
that. I'm just saying. Listen, I may not be smart. I may not have all the right words. Okay. But I know that the cold is no good for you. Okay. I understand that. It's not good. And that goes back to the fact that the Houston Outlaws looked like they were dying.
What is this voice?
All right, we're very close to an hour, and I desperately want to hear this story about Bren doing a dance-off with some person.
Okay. I got to bail pretty soon, so let's make it quick.
Okay, Johnny, calm down.
I will save it for the next... I will save my dance-off in the Yakuza bar for the next episode.
Oh, the dance-off was in the Yakuza bar?
Bro, oh my God, yes.
I thought you said this bar was only 10 foot by 15 foot. How are you throwing shapes in that bar?
There's enough space for a one-on-one.
Oh.
Did you 1v1 the Yakuza?
Yeah.
In a dance-off?
Yeah.
Bro.
Or at least friends of the Yakuza. I don't know if he was actually Yakuza. He might have been, actually. But I don't think so.
Okay. Whoa. Well, that's a teaser for next week.
We're saving it. We're saving it for next week. Myself, Josh, and Bren will be in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Did you guys see that video I put for Washington Justice? Shit was hilarious.
Nah, bro. I don't look at anything.
Damn, son. I watch all your content. I support everything you guys do.
You watch all our content. We produce like 10 hours of content a day. There ain't no way you're watching all of our content.
I watch a good chunk of it, okay? As much as my brain can handle. As much as my smooth brain can handle.
Yeah.
All right? Because you guys are so wrinkly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so make sure you give us a follow on Spotify, rate, review on Apple Podcasts, and also give some love wherever you would find podcasts. If you're in Washington, D.C., and you want to say hi to myself, Bren and Josh, by all means, come up to us. Besides Bren maybe having the flu, the rest of us, we're fine. And, you know, he seems to think he has the coronavirus. Also, huge shout out to the few folks in Philadelphia that came up to me and said that they love Foreheads. And that asked for another Foreheads live. So look at that.
Paul.
Yeah.
We'll need to figure out a time when we can do that effectively.
Yeah, and so that's pretty sick. So big thank you to those folks. But yeah, that's it. Next week, we're going to talk about Bren's epic dance-off with the Yakuza and how he lived to tell the tale. And then maybe Johnny will share with us at least one wholesome story of the day when he's not rushing because he has to go to meetings and he's so important and cool with turtlenecks.
Do you want a wholesome story right now?
Sure, go for it, Johnny.
Let's end on a wholesome.
I love all three of you guys, and you're very important for me in my life. Thank you so much for everything you've done to me.
Wow.
That's so shit. I was expecting...
That's not a story at all.
I was expecting some narrative, something wholesome outside of...
You demanding motherfucker.
Hey, guys. I love you all so much. Josh, that's so shit. All right, folks. That's going to do it for the Foreheads this week. Thanks so much for checking us out. We'll see you next time. See you in DC. Peace out. Later.
Bye.
Ah!